Page 34, Curley Cues. On pages 31 and 32 in all these pages, they give you more of these little things to do to help reinforce, that, make sure you understand what we're seeing in the music. I'm about to give you the answers to these, so if you want to try and figure them out first, just pause the video. I'll just take it a page at a time, and then we'll go over it together. So I'm going to start with page 31. They want you to match up the cup with the saucer. So the cup has the symbol, and the saucer has what it is. So in the first row, that first one is a treble clef. So you draw a line down to that third saucer where treble clef is. The second one is a hold or a fermata. This book calls it a hold, but technically it's called a fermata. And then the third cup is the bass clef symbol for bass clef. Second row, you have two things here. You have a dot and an accent. There's two things on there. So the dot is staccato and the accent is the accent. But if you look at the saucers, really you'd have to draw two lines, one to the staccato and one to the accent, because both of those symbols are in that cup. I'm almost tempted to believe that's an error, that they didn't mean the dot. They just want the accent. But technically, that's what's printed in the book, so okay. Then in the second cup, it's a dot. That's just the staccato by itself. And the third one, that's the repeat sign. Third row down, P stands for piano, which means soft. F stands for forte, which means loud. You can find the saucer it goes to. And rit is short for retardando, and that means gradually slow down. Or in this case, they're saying slower, and that technically that's not quite correct. Slower means you're just going at a slower speed. This means you actually gradually slow down. There's two different things there. Because there is another thing we'll learn later for slower. So I want to keep this as accurate as I can. In the last row, there's a natural sign in the first cup. In the second cup, you have a flat sign, and in the third cup, you have a sharp sign. We've had all these over and over. Hopefully, you got all those all right. Now, on page 32, again, if you don't want me giving you the answers, pause the video, and then you can resume the video, and we'll check your answers. They want to know the total value of all the counts for all the notes underneath each of those chickens. Hens, I guess they call them. They're laying eggs or something. You can't really do that as it is here because you don't know how many counts a note gets. But so far, we've only had a quarter note getting a count, because in the time signatures, the bottom number's always been a 4. It won't always be that way, but for now it is. So we'll just assume that a quarter note gets a count. And based on that, we'll figure out how many counts are on each of the, or under each of these chickens. The first one, half note, whole note, and 2 quarter notes. Well, quarter note gets a count, half note gets 2, quarter note or a whole note gets 4. So you can do the math. That's 8 counts total. And the next one, the dotted half note, remember, is the same as 3 quarter notes. So it's important you remember that. Then a quarter note, 2 eighth notes, which is equal to 1 quarter note, and then a quarter note. So you got 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 counts under the second chicken. The third one is a half note, 2 eighth notes, and a dotted half. In the second row, that chicken, you got 2 eighth notes beamed together, and then you got 2 eighth notes by themselves, a quarter note and half note. The eighth notes, it doesn't matter if they're beamed together or if they're flagged separately. It's the same value. So the 2 eighth notes is 1 quarter note. You got 4 eighth notes total. That's 2 quarter notes. And the next one, 2 whole notes and 2 quarter notes. Whole note gets 4 counts, so that's 8 total, and then 2 quarter notes makes it 10 counts total. And the third one, you got 4 eighth notes. This is similar to the first chicken in that row, 4 eighth notes. Again, it doesn't matter how they're beamed together as far as counting goes. It's the same. So in that chicken, we got a total of 4 beats. Third row, half note, quarter note, eighth notes, and all that junk. We're getting in there now. Well, the half note's 2, quarter note's 1, 2 eighth notes is 1, that's 4 counts. And then we have 2 whole notes there, 4 counts each, so that's 12 counts total. That's a busy chicken. And the second one is, this is the last row at the bottom. Quarter note, 4/8 notes on a quarter note. You can count that up. It's 4 beats total. And then the last chicken is 3 beats total. So if you have any questions, let me know. Page 33, they want you to write in the names of the notes for each of these notes. So you go ahead and do that. If you have any questions on the names of the notes, you let me know. Now let's talk about this Curley Cues thing on page 34. At the top of the page, they're introducing a new note for the bass clef. And that is the bottom space in the bass clef is an A. So we have middle C, and then we have a C lower, and you go down to that A. We keep getting lower. There. I leave it up to you to just memorize that note. Know what it is instantly. And I trust you know the names of all these other notes by now. Please do not go through and write in the name of the note in the music. Not all of them. You got to learn to recognize the name of the note instantly and just know what it is. Now let's talk Curley Cues. 3 lines long, treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signature, 4/4 time signature. We got 1/8 notes, quarter notes, half notes, whole notes. Okay. Now on this one, most of it is only one hand at a time playing, so to shorten the video a little bit, I'm going to take both hands together. The left hand starts and they want thumb on that C. So it's a C below middle C here. That puts the hand here. Okay. The right hand, they don't tell you, but I'm going to tell you you're in C position. I mean, if you look at the last measure for the half notes, they give you a 2. So we'll just go to C position. So we're here. And a 1 and 2 N. 1 and, let's get our new note here. 1 and 2 and then you see the LH, that means the left hand. So you're gonna, as the right hand plays that, left hand's gonna move over to play that. And then you have a rest, and while the right hand's playing, the left hand needs to come down and play a B. They don't give you a finger number. Here it's kind of your choice. Use whatever finger you want. Keep in mind the right hand is here, so you don't want to use and get the hands on each. You can use thumbs fine, or 2, whichever. You pick a finger and decide what you want to do. So in the third measure, the right hand is, and then the left hand's here, or here. Whichever finger you use, and I don't care. And then lift up at the end of the line, the left hand has to come back down. Here. May have to practice that. Whichever finger you use, and come down here. For the second line, you do it again. Now at the end of the second line, you're here. But on the third line, now you need to be in this position. So if it would help you in the first and second lines when you play the B to be in this position and use second finger, that's fine. Just do that, because in the third line it is. And as you're playing this, the right hand's got to come up here. And as you're playing this, the left hand's got to come down here. So we move one hand while we're playing another, because it has to be a steady beat. We don't mess up the beat because we're moving hands around. We figure it out. So you go through and work out the hands, and I connect everything I can. You have to lift up for the rest, but otherwise I connect them if I can. And then go through and take out the hesitation so it's a steady beat. It doesn't matter how fast you go. You take it nice and slow, but it has to be a steady beat. Then we can think about the articulation. And the only thing here is you're giving you some staccatos. So I'm suggesting to you connect everything else. So here, connect these at the beginning. And staccato, short. And I'm flexing at the wrist. I'm on the key and I'm bouncing off each time. 4. So forth. Once you have an idea about that, then we can think about the dynamics. MF at the beginning is mezzo forte or moderately loud, sort of loud. You'll have to decide what that is. And that's the only dynamic they give you. So the whole thing is sort of there. So whatever you think that. Then finally the interpretation. Once you're comfortable enough with the notes that you're past thinking, where am I going, when, and all that, you're getting into the music, you're starting to feel it. Start with the interpretation, the natural accents. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 4. 1, 2. One, two, three, four, this kind of thing. I exaggerate it so you can hear it better, but really it's just a natural. You feel it. As far as how fast you go, it has to be accurate, so you'll have to decide how fast you're going to go. As far as the phrasing goes, well, you have rests. It's like every 2 measures is a phrase. Now, at the end of the first line here, you lift up for the phrase. Well, you got to move the left hand anyways. That's fine. It's like taking a breath. You lift up. Just take a breath. Go on. The same thing at the end of the second line. It's the end of a phrase. So you lift up. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. Now, because we have all these eighth notes in here, I put the metronome on eighth notes. So it's beating eighth notes. So it's there. 1 and 2 and, so it's going really slow. So I'll give us 4 quarter note counts to come in, and then we'll take it. Try it. 1 and 2 and ready and go and 1. And 2 and 3 and rest and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and rest and rest and rest and rest and off.